Hey, happy Sunday. I pray all is well, that you've had an incredible Sunday, that you were able to go outside. Today was beautiful where I am. And so after we had our dinner, we went outside, which was really great. Get the mind flowing and going as well. But we are here today sharing, and if you saw the title was "Why I Got into the Financial Service Industry," and just kind of some background information as to why I got into this industry and my drive, even more so than ever. And so, most of you know me as Teacher Melanie, right? And I'm going to talk a little why is that, right? But my full name is Melanie Warren. But why I got into the financial service industry was a couple of things. Life, okay? So 2008, 2009, if you've never heard the story, my husband and when the financial market crashed, my husband and myself crashed with it. So we had 13 investment properties. We had 13 properties. And we end up losing 11 out of them for short sale, foreclosure. Then on top of it, we got sued by one of the mortgage companies, which, by the way, we were working in to do the short sale. And if you're not familiar with short sale, what happens in the short sale is that you're trying to sell the house less than what the mortgage is. So the bank has to approve the sale. And so we got a buyer for the property. The bank denied it. Okay? Hey, Fabulous, the bank denied it. And once they denied it, so we had to walk away from the property. So we end up being foreclosed on that property, one of many. But in the process, the bank ended up suing us months thereafter. How we found out that we were getting sued is because my husband's wages started to get garnished. And so you can imagine, not only were we experiencing some serious financial hardship, we are trying to save some of these properties, money's flying out the window left, right, and center. Okay, let me tell you, when money has wings. There's flying out with the window left, right, and center. We're trying to navigate all of this. And then on top of that, we're being sued, right? Wages are being garnished. So we had to figure out, how are we going to get over this? And let me tell you something, this was such a devastating time, not just in our finances, but in our marriage as well. One particular day, my husband and myself, we decided to go walking. We walk out the door together. I went one way, he went another way. Where he went, God knows, I'm sure he's probably the same thing where I went. And I'm walking and I'm crying and I'm bawling because I'm like, how is this happening? We're losing everything. We thought we were doing something great, and it didn't pan out how we wanted to do. And that particular day, if life had ended right then and there, I was like, it was fine, because I was just that low and devastated with the trauma that we were experiencing with this loss. During this time, I'm walking, I'm bawling, I didn't know who to turn to. I end up calling my parents, right, who were in Jamaica at the time. And parents always know when something is wrong. So I call, and my mom answered the phone. She says, I go, hey mom. He's like, how are you doing? She said, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. What's there something wrong? I'm trying to be as pleasant as possible. She asked the third time, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. She asked again, what's wrong? And then I bursted out. I'm bawling, okay? I am bawling because obviously, mothers, we have this instinct. Right now that I'm a mother, I understand that we have this instinct when something is not right. So then I told her what was going. She says, where your husband is? And I said, I don't know. She said, what do you mean I don't know? I said, we walked out the house. He went one way, I went another way. And so she proceeded. She says, where you're walking to? I said, I don't know. Wherever my leg takes me. She's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going home. This is it. This is it. She said, where are you going? And she started to pray with me and just really encourage me. Says, you need to go back home. And I'm like, I'm not going back home. I can't. We're losing everything. So she says, which way you walking? I said, I'm walking north to wherever my legs was taking me. And I'm telling her where I am. And she says, well, I'm walking south and I'm walking with you by faith in Jesus' name. And she starts walking and and to be honest with you, I don't know how I end up turning out or when I did, but I end up turning around and going home. And I cried that much that day that my head was exploding. Finally, my husband comes home. I looked at him, he looked at me, and he says, we're gonna make it. And I'm like, okay, your faith, my faith, right? Your faith, great, my faith, low. And then eventually, my parents called my brother, who was in Miami at the time, and where I was living was about an hour and a half. So he comes there, okay? He comes to me, he says, Mom and Dad called me. He said, I need to come to you. They didn't tell me why. They just, they said, come check your sister out and see what's going on. And so he did. He was just really a great encourager for my husband and myself at the time, really trying to cheer us up, which he did. And I'm so thankful for him for that time and just for the community and just the oneness that my family and I had. And so that was part of my story as to why I got into the financial service industry, because I used to be a classroom teacher and I loved education. I loved the students. I end up leaving, oh, thanks, love. I end up leaving the educational service because I was tired of the bureaucracy of it. We're not servicing our children. And I was not only a classroom teacher, but I was also a district administrator. I would work with adults in helping them to supervise as it relates to helping them to train them in education on what they need to do in helping the children in curriculum that I created for science and literacy as well. And so training all of these different teachers and preparing them as they prepare the students. So I would go and supervise them with the lesson plan that I did, and I enjoyed that. I really did. But one thing I realized too is that I enjoyed teaching and I enjoyed learning as it relates to finances. So I really got into learning the financial game because of what my experience and how I did not get taught financial literacy. I got caught, right? I got caught. As much as I knew some things, there were some things I still didn't know. Because what I know, one thing I wouldn't have done is that I would not have poured all that money into the properties, because we lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in trying to save these properties. I shouldn't have done it. I should have really just let it go, protect that money, and just go into the foreclosure, right? But I went to the foreclosure, but I mean to go into the bankruptcy, to go into the bankruptcy. As embarrassing as I was, actually, my husband and myself, about doing the bankruptcy, because we were kind of like, we thought we were doing a good thing, and now we're going to have to file for bankruptcy. Golly, a little bit embarrassed. So it took us a while to get to that point. But once we actually understood by the counsel that we got, the insight that we got, we're like, God, we should have let it go sooner than trying to hold on to these things and what it caused, the strain, the mental, the stress, the strain on our finances and our marriage, if we would have just let it go sooner. Okay, so that was one lesson. So we went ahead and we started to really put in to understand how money was working, how it works with student loan debt, right? The demise that is, that even when things are in forbearance or you're delaying it, that you still get charged interest every single day, right? Something that's supposed to help your future. Then on top of that, we were like, okay, how credit cards actually worked and all of these things, and really understand the money game. So it really became a passionate crusade. It's like, I got to understand this because something is not right. And when I really understand, when it came to how it is to properly pay off your debt, what it means to pay yourself first, what that needs to be doing, that you're saving and investing at the same time, what it actually means in setting up a legacy for yourself, for your family, what life insurance was all about, because I didn't know what life insurance was all about, right? I just thought it was just for burial. And and when I think about that, it was like kind of cringe. Like, I don't want to think about death. I want to think about life. But I want to be focused on having this money just to bury you. What about the life? And I love life and just celebrating it. So I didn't quite understand it. But once I understood it, and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody needs this, right? Because life happens. And so that's why I got licensed as a financial that's why I got my life insurance license. That's why I got my securities license, as well. Now I'm getting my mortgage broker's license, because how important home ownership means and what it does. And so now I have to get back to it, but needless to say, so when I got to understand all these different things, I'm like, I've got to get into this industry, and I have to teach people about money. Hence why I started to call myself Teacher Melanie, because I realized that life happens, and when money and life happens at the same time, it can totally destroy you, right? It can totally cause you to go into this spiral. And once I realized that, now I got a better understanding. I was like, okay, I'm so glad that I've really got to be in this industry. But fast forward, my story changed. When I got my life insurance license, and at the time, my brother had just moved here, where I am from New York. He was living in New York for years, over 20 something years. And I said, you know what, things were changed. He had lost his job, and he was just trying to navigate life once again. But he was just working, grinding, and just paying his bills. That was it. Maybe a vacation here or there, but most of the time he was working, and he was working hard. My brother's work ethics was so high. So when he lost it, I said, you know what, bro, come back to Florida. Come to Florida and just come stay with me. Let's figure it, let me help you kind of figure things out, and you can go from there, because he was looking for things in his industry. He was a graphic artist, and he's looking for things in his industry and was not finding anything in his industry while he was up north. So after praying and believing and just kind of encouraged, eventually he said yes. So he came down to Florida 5 years ago. No, it would be about 6 years. He came back to Florida, right? He came with his couple of bags that he had. And I was like, listen, I just want you to know that you are not a failure. You are not a failure whatsoever. Life happens, okay? My things of what happened to my husband and myself, and just the other things previous. I just want you to know that life is not, that you are not a failure. And that you can start over again. And so he cried and I cried at the same time, because I know he was feeling it as a man to get to this point where it's like, gosh, I have to come to my sisters and get for help. But I was like, I don't want you to feel the way. I don't want you to feel like you are a second-class citizen. I don't want you to feel like you're just, just catching here. No, we're a family, and we're here to support each other. And so he did, as I said, he stayed with me, and literally the next day he said, I've been looking for jobs even before I came down. I have a couple of interviews lined up. So the next day he had an interview at this place. So let me tell you how God is just absolutely amazing, okay? So this time I was taking my children, and my children were a little bit, they were young. They were young. So the way I would drop them to school, okay, was the same way where this particular interview we had was what was going to be the way that I would drop the kids off to school. So he drives with me the next day to go for this interview. So I drop him off on the same pathway to where I would take my children to school. I drop him off. I said, if you need anything, call me, because it was easier for me to where at the time I was working my 9 to 5. I said, if I need to pick you up, whatever the case may be, or just kind of help you navigate, just let me know. And so he didn't call me. He didn't call me. So eventually he calls me just when I'm on my way to go pick up the kids, which I'm going back now, the same pathway. He called me, he says, hey, you can come pick me up. I'm not at the place. I just walked down the street some. And so he walks down this place. I pick him up. I said, so what's the word? He said, I got the job. I was like, what? You're kidding me. He's just, I cannot believe it. And it's in my industry. I've been looking for months. And I'm like, look at God. And I said, you see how amazing God is, that you were up north for months. I mean, when I say months, I think about months, okay? Months looking for something in his industry, and he could not find anything. And it wasn't until he moved here the next day, the day after he moves here, he goes on his interview and gets this job at the place. And so I'm so excited for him. He's happy, I'm happy, and I'm just praising God. And so he starts working at this place, right? And shout out to Purple Frog Graphics, guys. Great company. Shout out to them. And so he's working at this place. He is happy. He is doing his thing. He's saving his money. And so he stayed with me for about a year. And then he found a place which he literally lived right around the corner. And I want to show you how God is. He literally lived around the corner from me. Okay? By this time I hadn't gotten my license yet, but I was doing a lot of things in helping people with their finances. And so after I got my license, I said, okay, these are the things you need to do. Because once I learned it, I showed it to him. I said, this is the things you need to do. Okay, I said, if they offer you the 401k plan, take it if they're going to match. He said they did. I said, great, take it. Take the free money and what have you. He did it. He was like, oh my gosh. Then I said, I want you to get life insurance. Okay, so he got life insurance with me, and he had the one that was at work as well. I want you to see how God is amazing. So he had the life insurance. I set him up with something, nothing. I set him up because at first he was just like, I don't have any kids. I don't have nobody. I was just like, no, it's about you. Okay, if something happens to you as a single person, you depend on you, so you need to get it. So at first he was like, I don't know about it, Mel, but me being big little sister, because he was my older brother, but I was big little sister, right? He went ahead and he took it, okay? And so he was like, I didn't have any of this stuff when I was in New York. I didn't actually understand it. I didn't have anybody to help me. So, oh, thank you so much. And so he says to me, all right, sis. So he comes to me, and he would always come from any type of financial thing, whatever new. He would always come to me for advice of what he should do, business as well. And I was like, okay, listen, I understand that you are working for this company, but you want to make sure you have something for yourself. Get into your business. And so he did. He started to do his graphic art business on the side, right? This thing now, we call it the side hustle. So he's doing it because he had the intent where, okay, I'm going to learn all that I can get from this company, and I've shared some things with them on what I want to do, and they said that they will also help me. So I'm like, well, this is great, this is really good. And he added some other things with them as well. And so he's with this company, he's getting information, they're supporting him, he's doing his thing, he has his investments, his life, he's getting all these things together, and he's coming to me. He's just like, sis, thanks for helping me out and just guiding me and helping me to get my business structure together, helping me to find places and where I can sell, helping me to meet people, all these things. And I'm not patting myself on the shoulder, but I'm just thanking God that God was able to use me to help him. It's something that I love to do. I love teaching about money. I love helping people to start a business, right? Not necessarily leave their 9-to-5, but just do something with their skill sets. I love that, because I used to always talk about starting a home-based business and what that means. And if those of you that know, that's part of one of my coaching thing is helping people to start a home-based business and what that means. And not necessarily having to be your 9-to-5, or even just being with me in a financial service, because I'm expanding, okay? But that's another thing. We'll talk about that. If you're interested in that, you can message me. So then we get to this point now. Life is lifing, right? He's doing his thing. His business is expanding. He's getting promotions at work. They adore him. And he meets this amazing young lady as well. We like her, right? My friend and I like her. We see a life together, right? We see a life, right? But then last year, May, when so many things hit, my father gets a stroke. We bring him back because at the time he was in Jamaica. He comes from Jamaica. We're like, okay, Daddy, we got to figure out what's going on. My brother picks him up from the airport, okay? This is about the 19th or something, I can't remember. My brother is the one that picks up my parents up from the airport. He brings them to my home. I said, okay, Daddy, and this was getting close to Memorial Weekend. My brother says he has a doctor's appointment, so he has a physical and stuff like that. And so we're just like, okay, well, since it's Memorial Weekend, let's go ahead and go away for the weekend. Maybe Daddy's just tired, which we know he was, because my father was so into his ministry and just helping, and he would work really, really hard. And so he did. My family and I, we went away to Orlando, but I can tell you that was one of the hardest, not that relaxing trip, right? When you know something was not this right. My brother did not come with us. He stayed here because he was like, well, you all are coming back on Wednesday. I'm going to have to go to work, so I'm not going to be able to go with you all. And I was like, oh gosh. All right. So we're in Orlando, we're calling my brother, and he was saying that he when he went to the doctor, that he had high blood pressure, so he was taking some blood pressure medications, but he was saying he was having this issue in his upper GI, which the doctor gave him something, which he ended up, after a while, the medication started to make him feel worse. So my mom and everybody said, just don't take it anymore. So he didn't. But then somewhere in the wee hours of the morning, he starts to feel really bad. So the Wednesday when we're coming back, he ends up searching online for the closest emergency room. So he searches for the emergency room, which is JFK North, which is by us. So I get up as soon as I get up on the Wednesday morning. I see this text from him. He says, "Call me when you get a chance." So I called him and I said, "What's up?" And he's just like, "Just want you to know that I just had to go to the emergency room. I was really feeling some serious pain, but I'm okay," right? Because he's talking to me clear. He wasn't like feeling some pain. He was talking to me fine and clear. So I said, we're coming back down today. So as soon as we get there, we'll come in and check you out. So then he calls me back and he says, okay, well, they're going to admit me. They're going to take me to the main hospital. So we get to the main hospital now, and he gets there. So he let me know that, okay, they're checking it in. I said, okay, we're on the road. As soon as we get back in town, we're coming to you. So I didn't tell my father that he had called me. I got this. I didn't want him to because he was already dealing with so much. I told my mom, and my mom was like, oh my gosh, your father said he had a dream. And he said it was about a young man, okay? And she's telling me this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I said, well, Flip just called me and said that, he's in the hospital. I said, he's okay. He said, he's okay. So don't worry. As soon as we get down there, we're going to see him. So then I can tell you that was the longest drive, okay? And where I am from Orlando to where I am, it's like about 2.5 hours. But it was the longest drive, the longest. So we finally get to, and I know you're like, what does it have to do with the getting into the financial? And I'm going to tell you in a second, okay? And you're going to see how it comes together. More than anything, as I said, my story has changed. So we're driving now. We finally get back to Palm Beach. I tell my father, I said, listen, we got to go to the hospital. Philip is there. But he's okay. They're just trying to figure out what's going on because he's having that pain in his upper GI. So we get there. As soon as we get there, we see him. He's in the room. He has heparin. I'm like, why do you have heparin? Anyways, so he bursts out crying. He's like, God, I'm so sorry that you all had to come here. And they're like, bro, don't worry about it. Listen, life is happening. Don't worry about it, and because he's just like, we're supposed to be taking care of Dad. Oh, thank you. We're supposed to be taking care of Dad, and I'm in the hospital. So he was feeling bad about that. This is how my brother is. This is how because he's always so keen on us and making sure that everything is okay and our family, and and we're just like, don't worry about it. Let's figure out what's going on, with you. The doctor comes in asking me these questions. He's saying no, 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 because I think it's something with his heart. He says, I'm just having this pain in my upper GI, my upper GI. He says, right now I'm okay. They're like, okay, well, so we're gonna do some testing, see if anything with the heart. Another doctor comes in, asks the same questions. He's saying no, no, no to the same question. They're just like, okay, because he said we looked at your levels and the test that we did, we didn't see anything abnormal, but we're going to do some further testing. Okay, fine. The hospital now comes in and to check his information, to verify his next of kin, all this stuff, which was me, right? As an emergency contact, they verify the information. My parents all are there. I am there. He says that's not correct. They corrected it. They say it verbally. I say yes. My brother says yes. Okay, I want you to hear all of this. Okay, and what have you. So we leave him at the hospital with the intent that the next day, because they were like, okay, we'll do a testing in the morning. So the morning comes, we don't hear anything. Maybe they went to do testing. Long and short of it, as you all know, in that short period of time that my brother ends up passing, this is hospital neglect. My 52-year young brother end up dying. You hear what I'm saying? My brother ends up dying. Now, I am in total shock now, because I'm like, what in the hell happened? He ends up dying. So of course now you have to do an autopsy, all this type of stuff. But I say this, that as devastating as that was, it would have been so much more devastating if he did not have his financial house in order. It would have been so devastating. That's why I say, whether you are single, whether you are married with children, whether you are single with children, it is so important that you take the time to get your financial house in order, that you take the time to understand why you need to save and invest, why you need to have some type of insurance policy just in case. I don't care if it's something, because now my crusade is so much more powerful, and I understand why God has called me to this, because I would not want this to happen to any family. And they have to beg, they have to figure out how to bury their loved ones, or if they get sick, how they're going to have to pay for it. I do not wish this pain on anyone whatsoever, because 7 weeks after burying my brother, my father passed. Exactly 7 weeks. So in a space of a couple of weeks, we had to spend thousands of dollars. And I'm like, Lord, thank you for preparing me for this time, for this season. Because I also realized that those things did not just happen for me to learn, but it's for me to learn, and I'm still learning, that I can be able to help somebody else in their family. Because when you are in your right mind and you can make a sound decision, this is the time where you put things in order. This is the time, because you can live a long life, right? So the question is that will your money outlive you? But if you do, heaven forbid, unexpectedly, will your family be okay? Will your family be okay? And so I say this with such great passion, because yesterday I went to one of my meetings, And I'm listening, and I'm like, this is why I do what I'm doing. And shout out to my children, to my baby girl. She said to me, or she see me now getting back in the swing of things, and she said, "Mommy, I'm so proud of you, of getting back into the swing of things, meeting with more clients, having more appointments and what have you, because it took me a while to just kind of get over. And I gave myself grace. I really did, because I really had to get over some of the shocking. I realized, okay, my father is not coming back. My brother is not coming back whatsoever. But what can I do to help somebody else? What can I do to help another family that they do not have to experience two losses, an emotional loss and a financial loss? And I would talk about this before, but now that it has come to my house, and to experience an emotional loss and to have a financial loss, because we had financial loss before, and I understand those losses and how devastating it was. I did not want that to have another financial loss, which we didn't, guys. And I'm not bragging. I want you to know that I'm not bragging whatsoever. But what I am doing is just kind of letting you know, listen, don't be out here playing. I want you to enjoy life to the fullest. Oh my gosh. Enjoy life to the fullest. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. But make sure that you take the time to make sure your money is right, that things are properly set up. Make sure that you have multiple streams of income. That's why I talk about having a business, right? Whether it's in what I do as a financial server, or whatever the skill set that you have, just do it. Show up. Somebody needs what you have. Your experiences, your skill set, somebody needs, and you have so much to offer that you do not have to be scared, because there is more than enough out here for everybody. Even if we are in the same industry, it doesn't matter whatsoever, because my story, my experience could help somebody else, and your story, your experience could help somebody else, right? When you experience these different things in your life, it really has nothing to do with you. It really does not. It has something bigger for the greater plan, that God can get all the glory, honor, and praise. And in the process, you get used. You can benefit, because you made a decision to not only change your life, but somebody else. Because when you do that, when you change somebody's life, you get what you want, right? They get what they want, and you get what you want as well, because you were not selfish. And so now, being on this age of 50, right, in my 50s, which I cannot believe it, and I'm thinking about all of those who are in their 50s and beyond and did not get taught financial literacy, or you have a skill set that you've been hoping and praying you want, and you don't know where to begin. You're maybe you're afraid of social media, or whatever the case may be. I need for you to book an appointment with me. Right? Are you trying to figure out how to navigate your financial house? I need for you to book an appointment, and you'll see my link in the description, or in my in the description, or in the feed, right? Or you can just message me. I'll need you to connect with me. Or maybe you're like, Teacher Melanie, I want to start a business. I don't know where to begin. I've been working my 9 to 5, and I don't want to do this anymore, but I want to do something while I am working through, right? And I need some guidance, some coaching. We need to connect. I'm going to be having some webinars that's coming up very soon. But if you're like, if you want to connect now, I do offer a complimentary 15 minutes. Okay, it's 15 minutes complimentary to see where you are and see how I can help you, and if we are a good fit, because your time is precious, and so is mine. And so is mine. And I was hoping I was going to do this video without crying, but listen, my passion, it is so simple, guys. It really, really is, when it comes to understanding what things that you need to have in place. Because listen, I know you're looking at the news, you're seeing all that is going on, and you're like, well, okay, I'm just going to I'll put my head under the rock and just keep living. And I'm saying, you cannot afford to do that. You cannot afford to let another day, to let another generation keep doing the same thing over and over. You have to be the one to make a decision. What I am going to find out what I can do to make sure that my family is not just good, but they can be great. That money does not end with you. There are so many things out here that you can do that can generate a multiple stream of income, but you have to get started with something. In my coaching, we talk about what things you can do, what's going to be a good fit for you, or even being a part with me in the financial service where you can be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I can tell you, I am so grateful for the company, because when when I lost my brother and all of that, they were so supportive. They reached out and called me and said, listen, I had some couple of things I needed to do with them. They said, don't worry about us. We will get to you, okay? Make sure you take care of your family and yourself. This is what they did. This is what they did. When it came out to the death claim to pray out for my brother, and by the way, guys, my first death claim was my brother. This is why. This is why. Not only was my first death claim, but I'm really like, oh my gosh, you all do what you said that you're going to do. Not only that, but the support that I got. So I'm saying to you, whoever this is for, okay, it's not by coincidence, it's not by accident whatsoever that this time that I came on, this was such a burden in me today. I was like, I've got to go live today. I've got to go live today. I don't have time to do a recorded video and do all this. I need to go live and share my heart, because Mel is in the game. I need to have more people winning. I need for us to get out of the mindset that to be wealthy is just for a certain few. To get to a point where money is a tool, but if you do not understand how to properly use the tool, then what ends up happening? We're constantly keep working and grinding. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Because at the end of the day, when I say it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, it's priceless. So next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US, okay, I'm going to be hosting a webinar on how to build your financial house. Share some things with you of what's going on economically, what things you need to be in place and be aware of. It is going to be free, okay? But you need to get onto the webinar. So I'll have that link posted. I'll have it posted. But as I said, I do offer a complimentary 15 minutes as well. But I'm going to have that webinar. It's called the Financial Fabulous. Okay, how can you live your financial fabulous life now, and which you can, but there are things that you need to face. So you see, oh guys, I know maybe you can't see it on this shirt, but I have on my Like a Boss shirt. This is one of my brothers. This was from one of my brother's line. Hi, Fabulous. This was from one of my brother's line that his brand was American Bulldog, and he had this shirt was Like a Boss. And like, we are getting to this point that we are running our lives like a boss. We are not allowing money or circumstances to control us, but we are controlling it. That's why other reason too, as I just deal with life and loss, was that I wanted to make a conscious decision about my mental. That I did not want to navigate this by myself, which is why I got help. guidance, some counseling from, for myself and my mom as well, my children, because I've been there. I've been depressed and feeling hopeless and feeling like nobody understands or cares. And that's a dangerous place to be. It really, really is. Because then you get to a point that you don't see any help, you don't see any results, because it's just woe in me. Oh gosh, I don't see any help, I can't go any further, God. But I want to tell you that where there is life, there is hope. And when you think you are alone, you are not. There is someone out there that has been through what you are going through, and they have gone through, and you have the ability to go through that, and not only go through it, but come out like a sweet smelling roses, even as you navigate. Because life can get hard. Life is hard. But it's a wonderful thing when you can find a community, a connection with individuals that have gone through and that have gone through. And that gives you a sense of hope. That gives you some faith to build it up, that you will make it. That's what I want to tell you. I want you to know, whatever you experience, whatever loss that you have, you will make it. And it is a process. You understand me? It is a process. But God can give you the right people, the right resources, the right everything that you need to be able to go through that difficult time and season. So I pray that this has been encouraging for you, that you share it, you reach out, you connect with me as well, because on this crusade, as a financial life coach, it's about changing lives, because life is happening. It's about renewing your mind, because we can spend more time planning a wedding, planning a birthday, and we do not take the time that we need to plan for the rest of our life with our finances. Because the Word of God says money answers all things. The Word of God says that the servant is lender to the borrower. Do you want to have that bondage for the rest of your life? The Word of God talks about wisdom and how important it is to seek out wise counsel. And I'm so glad that's something that we did, that we sought wise counsel as we navigate different journeys and challenges, both financial, right? Physical, emotional as well. You know, that thing that we don't like to talk about, is says, oh, if you get counseling or therapy, you're crazy. You're crazy if you don't. You're crazy if you don't. Because we do not have to navigate these seasons by ourselves whatsoever. There is somebody out there that can help. And if you don't know who, connect with me. All right? So, with that being said, my fabulous peeps, like I always say, remember to pray, plan, and believe, because God is still in the business of doing miracles. Can't wait to connect with you. Make sure you go ahead, like, subscribe, share, comment below. I want you to comment. I want you to comment below courage, because you're having the courage to take where you have to get to the next level. Comment courage. Or if it's just to say, a word of encouragement or whatever, or a question that you may have as relates to anything for that matter, right? Financial life house, right? You can go ahead and you connect. Thanks, sis. Appreciate that. All right, my fabulous peeps. Be blessed. Oh, wait, I gotta make sure I did this. Oh, there we go. I'm commenting. I'm responding to those to comments. Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Uh, that is so awesome. Yeah, I'm getting back, y'all. Yes. Um, um, I'm really. Oh, that's awesome. Look at you all. All right, fabulous peeps. You all over here. Stay blessed.